Okay, hello and welcome to this update on the coronavirus in New York. And this is going to be kind of a replacement for that video about the Day of Defiance video because I had to remove that and make it unlisted because it just felt I got too emotional in it. And, maybe I was a little too hard on the governor, all right? So let's take a look at, and everybody is frustrated, and we're going to talk about my feelings toward the end of this video. But first, I want to go over the latest statistics in New York. This was put by the governor, put up by Governor Cuomo. So the good news is Long Island has met 5 of the 7 metrics, so we're getting close to being able to start our phases of reopening. So Long Island, we've had 14-day decline in net hospitalizations. We haven't had a decline in hospital deaths yet, a 14-day decline in that, and we haven't had a decline of under 2 per 1,000 K 3-day rolling average. But all the others we have. Share of total, we've met the threshold now of 30%. We've had the share of ICU beds available 33%. We've had 30 per 1K residents tested monthly, 7 days, so we're meeting that. Contact traces, we're expecting that very soon, and we've met 5 of the 7 metrics. And as far as New York City goes, they're missing on the testing yet. So, where is it? No, that's Central New York. Where's New York City? Oh, here it is. New York City actually does the testing. They still haven't met the ICU availability bed rate yet, which is 30%. And some parts, but some parts have. There are a couple that have met Finger Lakes, Mohawk Valley, and Southern Tier, and those are the areas that are gonna be able to start reopening. Look, I don't. That's I'm not even gonna comment on the metrics. They are very high standards to meet. Um, but we have to also be careful with the hospital thing. That's the whole reason why we did this shutdown in the first place, so we don't overload the hospitals. So we're gonna go and look at some other statistics now from Newsday, and we're gonna go to tracking it. So we're gonna go to the should be a chart here. Where did it go? Should have loaded this before. I'm sorry. Latest stats. Here we go. So let's get the latest statistics on Long Island for the coronavirus. All right. So you get an idea of what's going on. We'll go over the data, and then, like I said, I'll go over my opinion over this at the end of this video. So let's see. This is the total cases, all right, and they are large numbers. But the key here is you get seeing the decline, and look at that. We declined even more on the 10th, so now we're down to 209. So we're really declining. The decline is picking up in the cases, and it's same thing in New York. We're seeing that decline as well. So that's really don't look at the totals because that's going to be misleading. It's going to make it. It's about the rate of the increase. Now, sadly, you can see we've had 21,000 people die. Is that in New York State, and then New York City is the New York City number. That on Long Island, we've had looks like we were up to nearly 2,000 deaths, which seems like a lot, but there are people that die from a lot of other things too. Um, doesn't make it any death is horrible. I don't even like talking about it. Nobody does because I've lost a lot of people I love in my life due to it. Anyway, total hospitalizations looks like we're continuing to go down. New York State hospitalized. I'll put the links to the data in the video so you can read it yourself. So we're down to 7,226 in New York State. So, well, there goes that siren. I don't know if you're gonna be able to hear that or not. So yeah, this is what it looks like right now in New York, and then we could go to the Worldometer site. I should get an idea, and it's just unbelievable how many more cases the United States has, and how many more deaths the United States has compared to every other country. It's just unbelievable, and that shows the unprepared. Oh yeah, there I go with my opinion again. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. Not going to say anything yet. Um, you can see the good news is the rate of new deaths has gone down, and the rate of new cases has gone down. So we're all moving in the right direction here. Um, so next thing I'll go is this is from the governor's site here. Reopening in New York, phase one. So he says that remains on pause until May 15th, though. Like I said, that may have to be extended for other parts. It's going to be, it's not going to be the whole state at once, which is the smart thing to do. Uh, so regional monitoring dashboard. Let's see what this does. The good thing is he provides a lot of data, and he's been very clear on. Okay, so this is what we just read. So this is what we just read here on the site. He put it up on Twitter, but we can get it on this site too. I'm gonna definitely bookmark this site. I think it's important. It's a good forward.newyork.gov, by the way. Uh, he outlines a plan for the local regions to monitor key state and track infect. So this is the article from Newsday. We're gonna look at it. We need to start a new chapter as New York regions prepare for reopening from coronavirus crisis. This Friday, officials in each region should prepare. So, Governor Andrew M. Cuomo took his most concrete steps yet to start reopening New York's economy after a 2-month shutdown, saying 3 upstate regions can partially emerge from restrictions this Friday, though the statewide return to economic activities will be gradual and coordinated on a regional basis. Some low-risk business and recreational activities will be permitted statewide starting in Friday, including landscaping, gardening work, and sports like tennis, as well as drive-in movie theaters. We start a new chapter today in many ways, Cuomo said at his daily briefing held in Rochester. It's an exciting new phase. We are all anxious to get back to work, but we want to do it smartly. We want to do it intelligently, but we want to do that. We want to do it. Each region will be in charge of calibrating how quickly it brings back its local economy and unveiled a list of people who will direct the effort for each area, including Long Island. Long Island is not ready to reopen based on the metrics Cuomo described, meeting only 5 of the 7 goals. Nassau County Executive Laura Curran said on Monday, "I find it very unlikely Nassau will open to phase 1 on Friday." But noting that tennis and other activities will be permitted, she even floated the idea of constructing drive-in movie theaters. She said she is pushing for more jobs and businesses to be put in the essential category, meaning they could open sooner. If you could shop at Walmart or on Target, why can't you shop at Macy's or your local mom-and-pop shop downtown, Curran said in an interview. You're shopping safely at Walmart and Target. Let's use those same protocols for retail establishments. Wow, Laura Curran, I'm really impressed. She's done a good job with this. I have criticized her, but again, she's speaking up about this. So the 3 regions approved to start reopening are the Finger Lakes, Southern Tier, and Mohawk Valley. They will be permitted to allow construction, manufacturing, and wholesale supply chain, along with retail stores for curbside pickup and drop-off or in-store pickup. Agriculture, forestry, and fishing will also be permitted. Pretty sure it always has. The North County and Central New York regions have met all 6 of the 7 metrics established by Cuomo and could be ready by the end of the week. New York regions in general need to start preparing for the reopening after the pause order shutting down non-essential businesses expires on Friday, Cuomo said. While touting improved indicators in the fight to control the virus. Some regions are ready to go today. He counted Long Island among areas that are very close to meeting the reopening requirements, though he didn't provide details. The regional control room appointees in charge of gauging I'm sorry, guys. Gauging the reopening. Long Island will include the 2 county executives, Lauren Curran. Oh, they made a mistake. Lauren Curran. It's Laura Curran, not with an N. Lauren Curran of Nassau and Steve Ballone of Suffolk. Kevin Law of the Long Island Association, a business umbrella group. John Durso of the Long Island Federation of Labor. Eric Gertler, President and CEO of Empire State Development. Tracy Edwards, Long Island Director of the NAACP. Cuomo again outlined a plan indicating that local regions have to monitor a set of 7 key state criteria to track trend lines on issues like infection and hospitalization rates and availability of hospital beds and supplies if resurgence of COVID-19 virus were to occur. Now the decline has gotten to a point where we just started the journey in terms of infections and death toll of the virus, and we have abated the worst by what we've done in practicing social distancing and observing other precautionary measures. Local regions all across the state should start to prepare for a reopening. This reopening phase is locally driven, regionally driven, and regionally designated, Cuomo told reporters. He said indicators of new hospitalizations of COVID-19 patients, daily deaths, and intubations are all down, some of them to levels that the state saw at the very start of the crisis. So this is excellent news. The daily death toll was 161, the first time since late March it has been below 200 and down from a peak of 800 a day in early April. Cuomo called it still too high, obviously at 161, but it is better than it has been. So we see all the arrows that are pointed in the right direction. The daily death toll is right about where we started before we went into the heart of this crisis. And so is the daily number of new hospitalizations of coronavirus patients at 488. That was far below the peak of 3,200 at the height of the crisis in early April. This is about where we started this horrific situation. He said right about where we were on March 19th before we went into the abyss of the COVID virus. I'm going to just, I can't read, this is a long article and I'm getting tired already, you can tell. So, New York City looking at June possibility. So, the city could ease social distancing restrictions and permit non-essential business to reopen as early as June if indicators established by the state and city continue to trend in the right direction. The mayor said he continues to worry that reopening too soon could lead to a boomerang effect and spike in coronavirus cases. But the three indicators that the city is tracking to decide when to ease restrictions were encouraging on Saturday. You can read the whole article because I'm getting a little tired. I think that concludes everything that I'm going to read to you now. I will share with you my opinion. So this is the part of the video where I'll talk about my opinion regarding things. And let me just say, I was a little too hard on the video. That's why I setting a particular date where I'm just not going to listen anymore is not the right thing to do. All right. This is all getting very unbearable, and I understand that. And I don't agree with everything Cuomo has done. But at the same time, I think he's done the best job that most of the governors in this country have done. He's been more transparent. He's been he's kept it from getting out of control. Compared to, especially when we look at Phil Murphy, who has still yet to provide many details at all, and Cuomo has still let us go hiking in the parks. All right, he didn't do any of the crazy stuff that Murphy did. For instance, Murphy isn't even letting people have a drive-by birthday celebration, which is horrible, absolutely horrible. Murphy is a tyrant. He is a tyrant. He's like I said, Murphy is absolutely despicable, and he's worst of the worst as far as the governors of this country go. But Cuomo is the best of the best when it comes to this. Although, like I said, we're all starting to lose patience, but we have to be careful about reopening. But I'm glad, and I'm going to really give props to Laura Curran, who spoke out about saying if people can go into, this is kind of what I'm saying, if people can go into Walmart or a supermarket or a Target, why can't they go into Macy's and follow the same protocols? Of course they can, and that same thing goes for the mall. Follow the same protocols. Make sure that people are required to wear a mask and stay 6 feet apart. If we can do it in Walmart or the supermarket, why can't we do it in other stores? And I think that's the key to reopening. Now, I still don't agree with putting the restaurants in phase 3. I think they should have been in phase 2 because, again, this is an industry that's really hurting right now. And this isn't about me, I know I grumbled about it. It is annoying because, sitting outside, obviously, to me it's annoying because where I eat, it's laid out in such a way where, everything is more or less 6 feet apart to begin with. Why can't we just sit inside? That's what I don't understand. Not every restaurant is laid out like that, but that should be up to the individual restaurant. It shouldn't just be a blanket thing, just closing all the dining rooms when some dining rooms are already properly distanced apart. It's not fair to people without cars, because I don't have a car, so it's not like I can just sit and eat in my car. If I did have a car, I wouldn't even be talking about it or complaining about it so much, but I don't. And I don't like cooking. I have anxiety disorder, you're working with things that could really hurt you when you're cooking. It's very stressful, and I have to avoid stress. Other people said, well, why don't you just get delivery? But then I'm having a stranger come to my door, and I don't want to have strangers coming to my door when we're having this virus going around. Maybe they're probably wearing masks, but even if I got the delivery, I don't have a microwave, so it'll probably be cold, and so that's the other thing. So yeah, I just think that we should open up the dining rooms a lot sooner. But I'm glad Laura Curran spoke up about this. And same thing for the other small businesses out there. They could have social distancing too, like Fox's here in Mineola. I mean, I've never seen people close together in there, so can't they reopen? I think that they should, and I hope Laura Curran can convince the governor to actually, you know, uh, maybe include this in the phase one. Some of these retailers that are considered so quote unquote non-essential. Though this whole designation of essential versus non-essential is a little ridiculous because in some ways everybody's job is essential in some ways or another. And the impact of the economy, I'm really concerned about if we wait much longer. We have to do it carefully. The last thing we want to have, and when I made that video, I made it sound like it. I don't want people to just go and start defying things with reckless abandon. And this is not about me. There's nothing really I can do to make a difference other than make these videos. It's about you, if you own a business, to say, you know what, if I'm getting to the point where I'm going to have to close my doors for good or defy, then I would say, then you need to defy. But if you're going to defy, you have to do it in a responsible way, and that means you open up, but you have to strictly enforce, no mask, no entry. It's just like no shirt, no entry, no mask, no entry. You have to wear a mask in the store. All right. You have to try to stay 6 feet apart from each other. You also have to do cleaning and stuff, cleaning of all the surfaces people touch, frequently. If you can do those things, you should be able to reopen. That's the way I feel about it. It's not going to harm anyone as long as if people are already crowding into Walmarts, and they are. I was in Walmart over the weekend, and it was pretty busy in there. And not everybody was social distancing. Everybody had a mask on, so I was fortunate. Everybody had the mask. But, people are already going to stores and going and hanging out in stores. So why are they only allowed to hang out in certain stores like Walmart and not other stores like Macy's or like the mall? That's the problem I have, and that's why we need to start reopening these other stores really, really soon. Both big and small. From Macy's to the small, boutiques like Fox's, they need to reopen because if they don't reopen soon, I worry they could close for good, and that would be an absolutely terrible blow to our economy, making this already terrible pandemic so much worse. And then we come to the construction. I agree with the construction. That should be phase one as well. But like I said, I would have had the phases laid down out by industry. I would have had them laid out by capacity. But that's not the way the governor wants to do things. That's where I disagree with him on. Saying that certain things are more important than other things. Why are restaurants like 3 when those small restaurants are struggling? Now, here's the thing about restaurants. It gets complicated because not every restaurant is available to, they don't always they have to put a certain amount of people in there to make money. And that's a concern. And that's why restaurants should be allowed to set up outdoor dining areas on the sidewalks. And as far as New York City goes, they maybe need to close off whole streets for some outdoor seating so people can stay 6 feet apart and the restaurant can still make money and get enough people. That's something to concern about. And waiters that might have to wear masks. The mask thing is going to have to be. I said people should not be defying the mask order. This is very important. Throughout history, in pandemics, the masks are extremely important. Extremely important in stopping the spread of disease because they cover your nose and your mouth, and the virus comes out of your nose and mouth. So when you talk, even, all right. So by having the mask on, it stops the virus from going into the air and spreading. It stops you from touching your face and spreading it to yourself too, as well. So I feel it's very important to reopen things. But people have to abide by the mask rules, at least when they're in an enclosed space. Outside, in the fresh air, I don't think it's unless you're in a really tough crowd. I don't think it's good to wear it outside personally. But inside, in a store where there's people around, especially where it's going to be hard, or on a subway or a bus or a train, where it may be hard to properly, keep the 6 foot distance, then masks, definitely, you got to wear the mask. All right, and that's something that I've said, wear it proud. You know, you know, um, I actually always wanted to wear the mask. I've always felt because, I got told you when I catch a cold, it's really bad. It goes to my ears. It's very painful. So I've always wanted to. And I have, and then people look at me weird, but that won't happen anymore now. Sometimes I don't want a crowded bus, I'll just put the mask on, just to protect myself. Now, it does offer some protection for yourself, but if everybody's got it really is the best at stopping you from spreading it. So if everybody has a mask on the train, and the train is crowded, it will keep disease from spreading, not just coronavirus, but colds and other respiratory illnesses. So that's something also to keep in mind. Now, the way I feel about it is we have to start reopening things soon on Long Island, and I think it has to be by the end of this month. So I'm hopefully we can meet phase 1 really soon and get things going here. But do it carefully. And I know I set a date. Oh, well, May 30th. This is between May 30th and June 7th. It's 1 week. It's true. You shouldn't pick one date to say. That date is different for everybody, and they're an individual, and I shouldn't have said that. Everybody's an individual when it comes to how much they can take, and people are reaching their breaking point. But just because you're reaching your breaking point doesn't give you the right to be irresponsible. If you must open, but you have to be responsible about it, and you have to make sure that people are, wearing the masks and staying 6 feet apart. So as far as a restaurant goes, the tables will have to be 6 feet apart in places, and capacity may have to be. The sun is going in and out, so the lighting in this video is probably going to get a little screwed up. Maybe I'll turn off my monitor. Maybe that won't cause me to, make sure it'll blow out quite as much. We have to be responsible about it. We have to be careful about it. And then I do take issue with those people who say, "Oh, you've got to stay home. You've got to stay home." If you go out and you wear protection, what is the issue? People have to go out. It's not healthy to stay home all the time. It's not healthy, and I do take issue with it. And a lot of the people who are upset about businesses who want to, or people who are struggling, they're not struggling themselves. Most of the people who want to try to shut us up, like I said in the other video, they're working from home. They're mostly finance professionals from a certain demographic that aren't affected. They can work from home, but there are a lot of people who can't work from home. There are a lot of people who can't get employment. Haven't gotten their unemployment yet. And maybe the unemployment hasn't been enough to cover their expenses. So don't. Point is, don't tell other people what to do. All right. Some people seem to use this virus as a way to tell other people what to do. Whether it be Phil Murphy and telling people, well, you can't go to a park to hike, otherwise we're going to charge you with a crime. Fortunately, he realized how crazy that was, and parks are open again. But whether it be people online telling other people, hey, you're putting money before people. No, they're trying to survive. There are reports of food lines and food pantries running out of food. There are people that are struggling out there because they haven't gotten unemployment, they haven't gotten help. And the last part of this video, I'm going to read to you a letter that somebody posted. It's like a chain letter, but it pretty much describes how people are feeling that feel disillusioned now. This person blames Governor Cuomo for this. It's not so much Governor Cuomo as it's Donald Trump, because Donald Trump has not been prepared for this whole thing. Oh yeah, and that's the last thing. I actually could probably read it to you right now. Well, no, I'll read it to you through the screen capture. I'll read that to you right now, and then I'll get back to you. All right, so I want to read to you this letter that was shared to me it's just being shared through Facebook, and it expresses the opinion. Not so much it's not my opinion; it's an opinion from someone else. But I kind of agree with I agree with a lot of what they're saying. So it says, "Dear Governor Cuomo, while I live in the same state as you, I feel a world away. You asked us to help you, we did. You asked us to close our business, we did. You asked us to stay home, we did. You asked us to continue to stay at home, we are. So here I am at home, waiting. You told us don't worry about unemployment. Will come. It hasn't. You told us don't worry, grants are coming. They haven't. You told us don't worry, forgivable loans are coming. They haven't. So here I am at home, waiting. I wait alongside my coworkers, friends, family and friends, small business owners, the self-employed, and the independent contractors. A massive number of New York State residents who are waiting for the unemployment portal to open for us, waiting for loan approvals, waiting for stimulus checks. All of these programs we are at the back of the line for. So here we wait. While bills come daily, savings continuously dwindling, and still doing our part. It is time to do yours. It is an inconceivable expectation to close unessential businesses, halting all income, and expect us to survive. We need to pay our bills and put food on the table. Without immediate action, you are leaving us no options. How are we to survive? We deserve an answer. Coming soon is no longer acceptable. Please join me in sending this message to Governor Cuomo. Copy and paste and keep this going. So we need to hear our voices heard. So this is the kind of individual who I feel should defy the order because they need to do it to survive. And if they need to do it to survive, then they need to do it. This is what it's coming to. Now I can't place all the blame with the governor about the money because a lot of that comes from the federal government. The unemployment, and the federal government should be helping. That's Trump's fault, so she should hopefully, or he or she, should be writing Trump as well, and asking for help as well, because it's not, you can be mad at Cuomo, but Trump is responsible for a lot of these problems with the unemployment and the stimulus delays. So that is this letter here. I don't agree with everything in it because I think they're blaming the governor, where I think some of this is Trump's fault. But I totally understand how this person feels and why I think that this is the kind of example that they must start defying and open their business anyway and just do it responsibly. So that person criticizes Cuomo, and I understand the way they feel. And it's one thing you tell people to close, but you're not providing income for them, replacement income for them. And that's the problem. We should have been able to do that. A lot of other countries did a much better job at that. But here, we told people to close, but we didn't provide them replacement income. People got laid off or from their jobs, and they haven't gotten unemployment yet. And a lot of it has to do with the federal government. Trump has been a huge disaster. That's why we have the highest death toll, because he wasn't prepared. He never took it seriously until it was too late. Cuomo is one of those people who tried to get people to take it seriously earlier than anyone else. And I didn't even want to listen at first. All right? But the president should have taken it seriously. He didn't take it seriously. And now we're in this huge mess right now. Because the president should have acted in January. He should have acted in January, stopping all the flights in this country, realizing, all right, we have an epidemic in China at that time. It was an epidemic. So we want to protect our country, and we're going to close off the borders at the end of January. That's what I would have done, or at least in February, at least the beginning of February. He didn't do that. He didn't do that until way too late, in March, when the horse was already out of the barn.
And why did he do it? Because he was so upset about upsetting Wall Street. It's all about Wall Street. And Wall Street, at first when this whole thing happened, it went down. You should have seen the look on their faces. This is a image I would frame because just they were so shaken and so upset, a certain demographic. But then Trump bails them out, and it goes right back up again. But where's our bailout? We haven't gotten one. Yes, there has been some federal money coming, but it's not enough. It's not enough. We need more federal money for the for the MTA. We need more federal money for the state. We need more federal money so people can get by, and it hasn't come. It hasn't come because all Trump cares about is Wall Street. That's all he cares about. All he cares about. And look, I know there are a lot of people out there frustrated over these shutdowns, but why the hell are you flying a Trump flag? I don't understand that. Trump's the one who got us into this mess. Yes, ultimately the blame is China because they didn't get it under control. All right, but Trump, he had the power to protect us, and he failed. He failed miserably, and that's a fact that some people just don't want to accept. And he still hasn't taken it seriously. Now a lot of people in his staff have the virus because they weren't properly socially distancing when they're having their meetings. And I saw them shaking hands like that. Handshaking. Oh, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I never care for handshaking. I think it's disgusting. I hope that's that's something I hope never comes back. Honestly, all right. I just don't care for it. So I'm like, look, I just don't want to do it. All right, bump elbows or something. But people's hands have so many germs on them. You're touching somebody's sweaty hand. It's disgusting. I don't like handshaking. It's something we could do without. All right. I'm sorry. That's something we could do without. So we're all frustrated and we're all running out of patience. And look, I understand some people can't take it anymore. And you need to do what you need to do to keep your sanity. And if that means to find something, then that means to find something. But there's a point to that. And that means that, if you do that, you still have to keep in mind, you have to do everything to stop the spread of disease that are recommended by the CDC. So, scientists, you got to wear the mask. You got to wash your hands frequently, all right? And most importantly, a lot of people aren't doing this, and that's a concern of mine. You got to make sure your hands are clean before you put on your mask and take off your mask. So you got to use alcohol, sanitizer, or wash your hands before that. It's very, very, very important that you do that because if you don't do that, you risk definitely, infecting yourself or spreading the infection to someone else. If you want to open or if you want to get your employees back to work, that's great, but you have to do it responsibly, and that's the point. So you have to take all the precautions out there. But there's no reason why we can't reopen most of our economy and at the same time follow these precautions like washing our hands, putting the mask on, sanitizing things. There's no reason why we can't get on with our lives and continue to be vigilant about stopping the spread of COVID-19 and other diseases. So it's been my video, and I know it's been hard on everybody. It's some of the hardest things I've gone through in my life since I lost my mom, and it makes me think about it. Especially since yesterday was Mother's Day. And yeah, we need to do everything to prevent more people from dying. But there are some things that I don't feel that opening up our economy and being responsible about it is going to put people's lives at risk. Some people think that. I don't think so. As long as we're responsible, as long as we practice the distancing, as long as we wash our hands, sanitize things, and wear the mask when we can't be away more than 6 feet away, I think we can minimize any more tragedy. But if we don't start reopening soon, there's going to be a much bigger tragedy and a much bigger strife and another pandemic of mental illness, which is surely getting much worse. And that's why we do have to reopen very soon. And I'm hoping that we start seeing Long Island open by the end of this month. If not, there is going to be defiance. And I don't want to see that. So that's why I'm saying let's all work together and start getting on with our lives, but do it responsibly. So that is going to be it for this video. Take care, and thank you for watching, and be well.